Hashem's V'saitivtach u'v'yagita asacha. We're now in the 8th Perek of Shmuel Aleph, and in this Perek, we're going to see what ultimately happened in Shmuel's home life. Vayhi kasher zaken Shmuel. Shmuel is old. Some say that it wasn't actually that he was old, but there was a problem, and the problem was Shaul. So Shaul, who is going to eventually be the king, now, he was appointed by Shmuel. He was very close with Shmuel. Shmuel really took to him very, very strongly. But he's not going to follow exactly in the way of what is actually envisioned for HaKadosh Baruch Hu's plan for Bnei Israel. Lo yasur shevet miYehuda. The scepter is never going to leave Yehuda, meaning the long-term king is going to be from Yehuda, and that's going to be David HaMelech. So here's the problem. What do we do with Shaul? Now, if we get rid of Shaul, Shmuel would be very upset. Shmuel actually had a taina against, he had an issue with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he said, absolutely not. There's no way you can't get rid of Shaul. So in this way, what happens is we can get rid of Shmuel, but you can't really get rid of Shmuel. Shmuel was a gadol hador. He was amazing. And Hashem, it would be an embarrassment to his kabul to just have him die so early. So here we have that he looked very old. And when he's looking old, then no one's really going to say, wow, Shmuel died early. So it may not have been actually in years, because we know that Shmuel only lives for 52 years. So he never really hit the ripe old age of any number. But perhaps he looked that way. Now, Vayasem es banav shoftim liYisrael, and he made for his sons to be the shoftim in Yisrael. Of course, he bequeathed to them. He's getting old. The halacha is that when it comes to, there are actually laws pertaining to whether someone is allowed to step into the role as inheritance, to be the next, to take the role on of the parent. And yes, so here he gives it over to his sons. One of his sons is Yoel, and the other one is Aviyah. Now, Yoel and Aviyah are shoftim be'er Sheva. They're shoftim in Beersheba. Why would that be anything but positive? Wow, they chose Beersheba to be the shoftim, because Beersheba is all the way on the bottom of Eretz Yisrael. Do you know how annoying it is to go to the bottom of Eretz Yisrael if you're living at the top just for a judgment? So we know that Shmuel, he did not want Tircha Tzibura. He didn't want the people to have a difficult time traveling. So he put in the hard work and he traveled. But the first part of the problem is that they don't. Now, just because Shmuel is Yotzei Min HaKal, the outstanding, doesn't mean that his sons have to follow in the outstanding way. But this is a negative in that they were in Beersheba. It could have been, there are two of them. One could go to Dan and one could go to Beersheba. Remember, the northernmost part and the southernmost part. But they don't do that. And so that's already something that isn't a great indictment on what we're going to read next, which is below halchu banav b'drachav. His sons did not follow in his ways, whether it was this situation, but it gets even worse. Because just in case you're thinking, the tzaddikim are judged kechut ha'sa'ara in such a very, very, very high standard. Vayatu achrei habatza. They subverted justice. They perhaps took bribes. They went in accordance. They ruled in accordance with that would benefit them. So they're not actually doing what has to be done. Now, what's interesting is if you think about it. Okay, so they're not the Besra mentioned, but really Yoel is, because we know he is the second of the Treyasar. So ultimately, this is a story. Remember, everything in Navi is Ladoros. It's for us, for generations later. And this is a tshuva. This is a tshuva moment. Yoel was not very good, and he did do what was wrong in the eyes of Hashem. But ultimately, look how he turned out. Look what happens to him. He ends up being one of the Treyasar. He does tshuva. Tshuva really matters. In any event, Vayitkabtzu kol ziknei Yisrael v'yavo al Shmuel haramasa. So all of the ziknei, all of the elders of the Bnei Yisrael, they come to Shmuel in Ramah. Remember, that was his home, that was his base, that was fundamentally where he held, where he felt the most comfortable. They said, because remember, he's no longer traveling the way that he used to. Vayamru elav, hine atasa kanta, you're old, ubanecha lo halchu b'drachecha, and your children didn't follow in your ways. So it's not looking so favorable. Ataza kanta, so they either bought the ruse that he's looking old, but banecha lo halchu b'drachecha is a very hard thing. Now, had he not been very good, it would have been one thing, but he's great. And so it's not a guarantee. One of the brachos that we get is children, and a bracha that we get on top of that is the derech that the children choose. It's not a given. And oftentimes, just because a father is Shmuel doesn't mean that his children are going to go in his ways. And what do they ask? We want a king. Now, this is a big controversial issue, because what happens after they ask for a king is Vayira hadavar b'nei Shmuel. He is really upset. It is raw. It is not good. Ka'asher amru, because they said Shna lanu melech l'shavtinu, that we want a king. Vayitpalel Shmuel el Hashem. And Shmuel davens, he doesn't respond, which is a big life lesson. He just davens. He doesn't impulsively tell them anything, and he's really not in agreement with what they asked for. But wait a second, why is he not in agreement with what we asked for? We know the halacha, we know from the Torah that there are 3 mitzvos that the Bnei Israel have to do when they get into Eretz Yisrael. One is appoint a king, one is wipe out Amalek, and one is build a Beis Hamikdash. And so here, they're just doing what's prescribed. This is exactly what they wanted. But ultimately, there are so many answers, many, many answers how to explain why Shmuel was not in agreement with what they asked. Either, and let's just highlight some of them. Simalanu Melech is fine. L'shavtenu, beautiful. Give us a king, because we need someone who's going to judge us, and your children are not going to be able to do that job. But kachol goyim, because we want what they have. Children, oftentimes it's the kiss of disappointment when children say to their parents, "Oh, can I have it because so-and-so has it too?" That's not endearing to a parent. Nobody wants to hear that. If you want it, ask for it. But don't say because someone else has it, or, it's not as mature of an ask. The second is that he's insulted. What do you mean? Like, I'm a good leader. Why would you want a melech when you could have a shofet, right? Like, what? Another one is that melech, it's not the right time for them to be asking. When Hashem decides that there's going to be a melech and it's time, then it'll be time. And David HaMelech is not ready yet, so it's not a good time. So Shmuel knows that it's not a good time, and as a result, it's the wrong time to be asking, even though, and we know also from parenting, sometimes it's just about timing. If you ask for it at a different time, you get a different response. And so, this is ultimately, Shmuel is just not happy with the ask at this time, but had it been another time, that would have been fine. Now, he davens to Hashem. He's so close with Hashem. He's feeling disappointed. He's feeling upset. And this is a big musar. You just daven. Just ask Tati and Shamayim for what it is that's really bothering you. And Vayomer Hashem al Shmuel, but Hashem responds to Shmuel, Shma b'kol ha'am. Listen to them. L'chol asher yirmu lecha, whatever they ask for. Ki lo otzcha ma'asu. Don't be insulted. Don't think that it has anything to do with you, my dear Shmuel. Don't be insulted. Don't feel like your kavod has been taken away. Ki otzi ma'asu. He puts it on himself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu just wants to make Shmuel feel better. Shmuel, in a beautiful turn of events, Shmuel wants Hashem's kavod to be there. Why? Why would you ask for this? Why can't you just believe in Hashem? Now, the problem is that Shmuel, while he's the while he is the Navi, Hashem is taking care of them. And this is another reason why Shmuel's upset. Why are you asking now when nothing's coming b'derech teva? Your ask is at the wrong time. Hashem is literally guiding and taking care of you. Why would you insult Hashem, so to speak? And Hashem is saying, Ki lo otzcha ma'asu. It's not you, Shmuel. Don't be insulted. I'm gonna take the hit for the team, and it's a beautiful relationship. And each one, Hashem and Shmuel, are caring about the other, and the kavod. And don't be insulted. No, it's really. One is saying, no, it's really me, and the other one's saying, no, it's really me. I did everything for them. I took them out of Mitzrayim until this time. And they still forsake me. And so, they worshipped other gods, and that's what they're doing for you. And they're doing that to you. But listen to them. Just listen to them and give them exactly what they're asking. Now, Shmuel then speaks to the people that are asking for the king. And he says, and he's going to have a laundry list of all the things that he warns them. He said, if that's really what you want, if you are really, asking for a king, then you should just know, let me tell you what you're really asking for. He's going to take your sons that are going to be appointed as the riders for his chariots. And he can just take them. He can take your sons and make them the people in his army. He can have them plow his fields, reap his harvest, make his weapons. He can take your daughters as perfumers, cooks, and bakers. He can take your land, your vineyards, your olive groves. He can take all of your grain. He can take your slaves and take them to work. He can take 1/10 of your flock, and those people, and they can become his slaves. And there's going to come a time where you're crying out and you're like, oh my gosh, why would I have it? And Hashem is not going to answer you on that day. And the people, they process it for a minute, maybe not. But sometimes you can't convince someone who's already decided. Manu ha'am l'shma b'kol Shmuel. They refused to listen. Lo ki melech ya'alanu. We still want a king. Now there's a big machlokas, which is quite interesting, as to whether or not what he's saying is true or it's just a warning. And there is a machlokas. Rav says, that it was just a warning, and Shmuel says that it was actually the truth, and that these are halachas. But if that is the case, now we did a long time ago that Achav and Izabel, remember, one of the reasons that they were punished really, really badly is because they took the vineyards and the land that belonged to Navos. And so if that's the case, according to this, you can take the land of Navos. So how is it that they were punished? So the answer, one of the answers, is that, they were taking it for bad reasons. They were taking it for avodah zarah. And so if they're taking it for the bad reasons, then this doesn't apply. But it does raise the question, is this really true? Is he talking about the halachas? We know from the Torah, the king is, can't take lo yarbeh lo nashim, susim, and he can't have a lot of gold, he can't have a lot of horses, and he can't allow to have too many wives. That halachas are in the Torah, but these, it's certainly not clearly delineated like this. So where does that fall? But in any event, they say, yes, we want it. But hayinu gam anachnu kachol hagayim. We want to be just like the other nations. Again, it's this peer pressure mentality. They want what everybody else has. B'shavtinu malkinu. And so let the king rule over us. We'll take our chances. We're going to go with that. Oftentimes, we live on, there's the short-term gains and the long-term gains. And right now, they are not looking for what is going to be later. They just want now. And what do they want it? Shavtinu malkinu. They want to be judged. V'yatzal lefaninu. He'll go in front of us to lead us. Milchamas v'milchamasenu. And he's going to fight our wars for us. It's such a sad story because ultimately Hashem right now had been doing all that. And so they're replacing the ultimate king with a lowercase k king. Vayishma Shmuel. And Hashem said, just do it. And so Shmuel says, okay, we'll do it. And he does. Vayomer Hashem el Shmuel shma b'kolam. Just listen to them. Hamlach lahem melech. Just give them their king. And Vayomer Shmuel el anshe Yisrael l'chu ish liro. Okay, all of you, you all go home. So basically, we're going to have a king. This king is not coming, is coming with Shmuel kicking and screaming. But ultimately, Hashem says, the way that sometimes people want to go, Hashem just lets them go. And that's part of Bechira, that's part of free choice. Now, they're not asking for something that wasn't going to come to them. It's like an early birthday present. No, you're going to get it, but not now. It doesn't work out now. And the one that I ordered for you didn't come yet. So now you're going to have to get a substitute. Not going to be the best, but if you keep on asking and you keep on pestering me to give it to you, I'll give it to you. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be ideal. It's not going to be exactly how you want. And truth be told, I'm a little bit insulted in how you asked, but ultimately that's what they ask for. And we will see going forward what exactly happens when they do the ask.